Yeah, I do want to talk about one more thing. You absolute legends. So, who am I pertaining to? Because, like, yeah, Lost Tales, I know you don't know who Karl Jobst is. So, yeah, a lot of things are going on for. He's a big YouTuber, and okay, admit he's a very good YouTuber. Don't get me wrong. If you guys are familiar with him and watch his videos, you guys know he makes very good videos. Okay, and yeah, he usually covers speed running, speed either someone who like a mini documentary of who did a really good speed run and stuff like that. And he also covered people who massively cheated on the speed running um in the speedrunning, space. But yeah, so yeah, the reason why I keep saying absolute legends for those who are unfamiliar with Carl Jobs, that's like his tagline. Yeah, that's like his tagline, which has become a running meme because of what happened recently. So if I click on him, wait, I am showing it, right? I am showing, yeah, I am. So that's the first thing you actually hear.
Hello, you absolute
Yeah,
legends.
it's a running meme now because of what he did and why people are upset about him, including me. You absolute legends, because that's his tagline, how he addresses audience in his videos. So yeah, if you check his content, it's mostly about spe- speed cheater, speedrunner, cheater, record. It's that's his content, speedrunning, and it gets a lot of views. It's by the millions. So it's 1.8, 650K, which is still a lot. 1M. So yeah, he's a very good YouTuber. And I first discovered him through the scandal last year when me and Phil talked about it. With the completionist, the guy, the retro, the also big YouTuber, the who did charity, apparently who did charity fraud, because like he does a lot of he kept saying where, oh, if you guys donate to my charity, it's gonna go to people in need, people with disabilities, for illness research. But apparently Carl and another guy named Murahar, some ordinary gamers, were able to expose that he was actually just keeping the money. He was just keeping the money for like almost a decade or around a decade. So Carl's one of the people who exposed him, and like he went through their financial records, their declarations. So he did actually pretty good job. That's how I knew about Carl, because like I'm not really a speedrunning guy, so I never encountered him until like Gerard the completionist got exposed. So now like the joke's on him, like karma. He's now on the receiving end of backlash, unfortunately, because if you check his content right now, like he covered a guy named Billy Mitchell, who is like one of the renowned former, world players on Donkey Kong. Let's see if I'm spelling the name right. Yeah, he made a shit ton of videos on Billy Mitchell. So this Billy Mitchell guy, he's like, okay, I don't know about the saga. Like he's been accused of cheating in the Donkey Kong world records. So like there's a huge saga going on. Okay, I'm neutral. I don't know if the guy literally did the cheating or not. I'm not gonna pretend I knew, but a lot of people are saying he did, but I don't know. I really don't know. There's a lot of evidence going around that he did, but yeah. So what happened is like you see Carl made a lot of videos about the guy. So it's like he let his probably fame get over his head, that like he made it his life's mission to make it like, oh, I'm gonna sue Billy Mitchell. And oh, no, sorry, Billy Mitchell sued him because like Billy Mitchell has a reputation where if you accuse him of cheating, he's gonna sue you. So he did that to a lot of content creators, and he actually won. So he has a really good law firm, or lawyers working for him. So like yeah, it got to the point where Carl started covering him too. But it's got to the point where like there's a lot. If you see me scrolling, there's a lot of videos about him. So it got to the point where he got really like confident, like really cocky, or like, oh, I'm gonna wipe the floor with Billy Mitchell, and then turns out in the trial, like it got to the point where it got very costly because like Billy Mitchell was like, I think, okay, it's over here where, okay, I'll read this. Hello, you absolute legends. My name is Karl Jobst, and I'm a YouTuber who often reports on video game cheaters. So already the context here is like Billy Mitchell was suing him because of for defamation, because yeah, we were all under the impression that it's because of Karl accusing him of cheating. So yeah, if you read this, that's what it really comes across. And with all his numerous videos, sure, there's some few specs here and there that wasn't actually the case, but okay, I'll get to that later. But the point is, okay, I'll read this. My name is Karl Jobst, and I'm a YouTuber who often reports on video game cheaters. Last year, Billy Mitchell, star of The King of Kong and proven video game cheater, sued me for defamation, claiming damages of 450,000 Australian dollars. In the past year alone, this lawsuit has cost me almost 200,000 to defend, and will cost at least another 100,000 before it's over. The situation is already crazy, but has since gotten much worse, as Billy Mitchell has sent me another defamation lawsuit for another 450,000. So yeah, clearly Billy just wants him to, on the onset, he just wants to bring Karl down. Okay, shut up about it. You're accusing me of false allegations, stuff like that. So that would mean I will need to defend 2 lawsuits at the same time, both being extremely expensive. But then it gets even worse because Billy's threatening me with even more lawsuits. Yeah, so that's his tactic, because like Karl has been making so much videos about him, he's been saying so much things. And yeah, I think that's like more ammunition for them to file a lawsuit. These lawsuits are unhinged, and it's highly likely Billy will ultimately lose. But until we go to trial, it requires a lot of money to deal with. I would appreciate any help that you're able to provide, as this affects not only me, but my family as well. So take note, everything is on the line, including I believe he has a wife and 2 kids. I could be wrong, 2 or 3 kids. Obviously, it's bad enough to attack me when I've done nothing wrong, but to injure them as well takes things to another level. Naturally, the more money I'm able to raise, the better my legal defense will be. That's just the way it works. If and when I defeat Mitchell, see, it sounds, this alone, like it sounds how ridiculously confident he was. Like, it's insane. And like, if you watch some of his videos, the way he talks and portrays himself, like, oh, it's gonna be a surefire win. Billy Mitchell is, oh, I'm gonna wipe his ass on the floor. It really comes across that way. He will likely have to pay back a lot of the costs that I incurred. I will use that money to host a grand gaming tournament in his honor. See, this alone, it sounds so arrogant. But the thing is, like, while this comes across, like, if you read this, like, if you didn't watch any of the videos, or if you just casually watch some of these videos, it comes across where Billy Mitchell was suing him for, like, yeah, the defamation for him being a cheater, which is true to a sense given the numerous lawsuits. But the thing is, when it came to court, Karl kind of surprise, he lost. Okay, the point being is that the court case, the one he went on, it was never about Billy Mitchell cheating per se on the Donkey Kong. Instead, it was about Karl accusing of Billy Mitchell of the death of another content creator named Apollo Legend. So, because like there was another lawsuit that transpired between Apollo Legend and Billy Mitchell for the very reason that, Apollo Legend was like accusing Billy Mitchell of cheating and all that. Then Billy Mitchell, sued him, and then Apollo Legend ultimately lost. So obviously Apollo Legend ended up owing him a lot of settlement money and damages and all that. Then Karl said along the way, so the case was about Karl saying that the Apollo Legend ended up taking his own life because of Billy Mitchell. So obviously, like, regardless of how much of a cheater or poor reputation Billy Mitchell is, that's still quite the accusation. It has nothing to do with his cheating shenanigans that caused Apollo Legend to, take his own life. So Karl ultimately lost that decision, and he just made a video a few days ago. It took him a long time to make that video. So let's hear out what Karl has to say.
On the 1st of April, I lost my lawsuit against Billy Mitchell, and the judge has ordered me to pay $350,000 in damages, plus interest. He goes without saying...
Plus interest and damages, and like he has to pay for Billy's attorney's fees too. Which is, I think that's how it works in Australian court. I think that's how it works.
Saying this is not the result I wanted or expected, and it's honestly quite shocking. Personally, I disagree with the judge's decision, and so I'm currently exploring any potential avenues for appeal. An appeal may stay the judgment on application until the appeal has concluded, which might result in several outcomes. The appeal could be dismissed, and I would be ordered to...
Yeah, that's, for me, that's... Okay, for me, Karl shouldn't appeal anymore. He just should just cut his losses, try to make amends with Billy, maybe lighten the settlement fees and stuff like that. But no, okay, he's still doubling. He still wants to double down and appeal, which is no, man. I don't think that's gonna work favorably for you.
To pay the original judgment, the judgment amount may be lowered if the court finds it excessive, or the judgment may be overturned completely if the court finds errors of law have been made. This entire process can take up to a year or longer, so as it stands, this remains an ongoing battle, and it's not a battle I hope to give up easily.
Around 2 weeks ago, Milk Toast, and like the verdict was posted, it was all over in social media. If you're following the story, and it's in Australia though, and he still lost again because of how he went about it, in my opinion, which I'll discuss it as he talks in his his analysis video on why he lost.
This has been
and what he plans to do.
Been very upsetting, but truthfully, losing a court case isn't the end of the world, even if it is to Billy Mitchell. It sucks, it's not what I wanted, I know it's not what many others wanted, but life will go on. Unfortunately for me, something else has
okay, let's assume that Billy Mitchell's cheating is true, but again, this guy framed it in such a way that the case was because of Billy Mitchell cheating. I didn't donate. Okay, I didn't go do this GoFundMe thing, but a lot of people were under the impression that that was the reason, and had some of them known that that was the reason where Karl accused Billy Mitchell that he was the reason why Apollo Legend ended his life, I don't think they would have donated the money. And now the joke's on the people who gave the money, because that money is going to Billy Mitchell, the guy that they despise so much for cheating.
happened that has been far more upsetting and far more difficult to deal with. Many people are upset and angry with me as they believe I have misled them and lied to them about the nature of the lawsuit. Some even go as far as saying that I intentionally lied to the public to scam people out of their money through my GoFundMe. Mostly people are upset because
I can see the point. Nah, I don't think it's that far, but you did really make it come across where that was the premise of the court case.
Believed the trial was about me accusing Billy Mitchell of cheating, but it turned out to be something else. The backlash has been pretty brutal, and it's not something I'd like to happen again, so I think it's very important for me to be as honest and transparent as I possibly can.
Yeah, but okay. This is basically a sorry, I'm not sorry kind of video. He did say he's sorry in the end, but it feels half-hearted. You guys will see through the whole ordeal.
I'm going to go through the entire timeline as it happened so that you have as much information as possible. At certain points, I'm going to have to combat things that people have said about me that aren't true. But that doesn't mean I didn't also make mistakes and that there also aren't valid criticisms. I hope to address criticisms that I think are wrong and those that I think are right. And I apologize about the generic Minecraft footage, but I just don't do well on camera. So this will have to do. On the 26th of May, 2021, I released a video titled "The Biggest Comment in Video Game History Strike Again." In that video, I discussed two new lawsuits that have been filed by Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell. At the end of the video, I outlined all of the various lawsuits Billy Mitchell had filed against others. And when I came around to Billy's lawsuit against the YouTuber Apollo Legend, I said these words.
Yeah, maybe he should have expanded on this. Just saying.
He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life.
Yeah, there you go. He said it all the way in 2021. Look, the guy placed the video himself. I don't know, chat. I could be wrong, but how would you interpret that? Would it, for me, you are blatantly saying that the guy died because of Billy Mitchell. You're saying that Billy Mitchell is the reason why he died, ultimately. Yeah, he had other health issues, but you're kind of insinuating that's the case. He's going to continue saying that he didn't really say it.
Not that Billy Mitchell would ever care though. In fact, when Billy Mitchell thought Apollo died earlier, he expressed joy at the thought. The lawsuit against Apollo was just as frivolous as the rest, and Apollo definitely would have won in court, but again, he was extremely ill and couldn't handle the ongoing stress. This was inaccurate because the settlement terms did not involve Apollo Legend paying Billy any money. Even though this claim did turn out to be false, I believed it to be true at the time. I had been personally told there was a cash settlement, which numerous others said they were told as well.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like he's using pretty sketchy sources because, like, as far as I know, people were already telling Karl that that's not what it went down. So you gotta retract what you said. It's like Keemstar, I believe, told him. Apollo Legends family told him. Like, what actually really happened was that all Billy Mitchell wanted was he deletes the videos. It ended up not having to pay any form of monetary compensation, but he still went on. Karl still went on with it. That's the thing. So he knowingly pushed it, knowing that it's not true. When there's so many people telling him that it wasn't.
And this was also stated by multiple Reddit users, with one of
Yeah, Reddit. He used Reddit as a source. Okay. Yeah, do not use Reddit for legal case sources, guys.
them even claiming to have spoken with Apollo directly. Obviously, a Reddit post isn't usually very credible, but this person made these comments and was talking about the
But he used it anyway. He knew, but he used it anyway.
settlement before the settlement was even public, which implied to me that they knew what they were talking about and it was trustworthy.
It's still Reddit. Don't always take stuff on Reddit with a grain of salt.
And the idea that Apollo Legend may have paid Billy Mitchell a large sum of money was already out in the public. In a 2020 Easyscape video, he said this.
Like I mentioned at the start of the video, there's a good chance that Apollo had to pay Billy a large amount of money in the settlement, and rumors online suggest it to be anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 if this is what happened.
The important distinction, however, is that Easyscape did not claim this as a fact, but rather
maybe you should have done that, Karl. He would have saved you a shit ton of money.
That it was just a good possibility. And I will need to point out that despite Easyscape thanking me in the description of this video, which people have then used to falsely claim that I went after Apollo Legend in some way, I had absolutely no input.
But you said it in the video, right? You guys heard it. For me, anyway, my interpretations, you were directly accusing Billy Mitchell that he was the reason why Apollo Legend did what he did.
On anything he said regarding Apollo Legend, and I had no idea what he was going to say prior to the video's release. I had only simply provided him with some legal documents and information regarding the Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell lawsuits. And Easyscape proactively reached out to me and allowed me to post his statement confirming this was the case.
Wait. Okay, let me read that.
Billy Mitchell.
I've seen online that you've been getting flack for being credited in my video about Apollo. I'd only thanked you in the description since you provided me legal docs and info regarding the Todd Billy lawsuits that I had included in the intro of that video. Your input was only included for that portion, and Ursat's Cats had only fact-checked the video. Only I'm responsible for the things I say, nobody else. I'm unsure if you were even planning on addressing this criticism, but feel free to include this in your response if you'd like. I was considering making a public comment, but honestly, unless someone calls me out in a way that forces me to respond, I'm done with anything Billy Mitchell or Apollo Legend related. Sorry to hear about the verdict. I eagerly await your response. But yeah, still, Karl straight up just said Billy Mitchell was the reason. This guy said it might be a possibility. So it's fine.
Lawsuits, and Easyscape proactively reached out to me and allowed me to post his statement confirming this was the case. With all of the corroborating evidence I had, I believed at that time that Apollo Legend did pay Billy Mitchell money in the settlement. And this was not something that I merely fabricated or constructed myself. In Apollo Legend's goodbye video, which I won't replay here out of respect, he confirmed that he had health issues and that he had unpaid debts which he did not want to pass on to his estate. And he asked people to
Yeah, but the thing is, like, as far as I know, he was informed already by, like I said, Keemstar and Apollo's family members themselves. I don't. This is according to other YouTubers. I don't know, but if that is true, then yeah, this guy knew what he was doing. Yeah.
donate to his GoFundMe because of this. As a fellow YouTuber, I also know how much money Apollo was making on his Billy videos, which was money that he would also stop making due to having to remove these videos from his channel. And of course, you don't need to be sued to realize that being sued is an extremely stressful thing. And especially now,
And yet you want to appeal and to continue despite already losing massively.
after being sued myself, I can only say that you cannot imagine the stress this puts on you until it happens.
Yeah.
Apollo himself even admitted this in a Discord message, and I can only assume that the other things he's referring to included his health issues. To be clear though, I never said Billy caused Apollo's suicide, nor have I...
Okay, should we go back there again?
Mitchell had filed against others. And when I came around to Billy's lawsuit against the YouTuber Apollo Legend, I said these words. He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life.
Yeah, for me, that you're kind of saying that Billy Mitchell was the reason why he took his own life. I don't know. I could be wrong. Correct. You can correct me. Maybe there's a different interpretation of this, but that's how I see it. You said it, man. You did. You really did.
Issues. To be clear though, I never said Billy caused Apollo's suicide, nor have I ever believed that. No one is responsible for Apollo's decision other than Apollo. If you read my words carefully, I simply laid out a sequence of events that happened one after another. I said that
word salad. You directly implied that he was the reason. Billy Mitchell was the reason.
There was a lawsuit, Apollo settled, he was in debt, though I was incorrect about the cause of the debt, he needed extra work, and he had ongoing health issues. Then I said this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life. I deliberately used words like and but to connect these events.
Yeah, but that's still, any other person would have interpreted that's a way that you are direct. You're saying that Billy Mitchell was the reason.
I didn't use words like because or as a result of. I was also very careful to mention Apollo's pre-existing health issues as a major factor. When I said this was all too much, I was clearly referring to multiple things together. The debt, the extra work, and his health issues, all simply as existing, not as causative factors. I never stated that Mitchell's lawsuit caused or could have caused Apollo's death. Any connection someone might draw between the lawsuit and Apollo's passing
but very clearly the judge didn't see it that way, Karl.
Goes beyond what I actually said. I was extremely careful, though obviously not careful enough, not to make that claim, because I know the difference between describing a sequence of events and assigning blame for a tragedy. I did, however, get one statement of fact wrong, and trust me, I learned that lesson immediately. Ever since this very video back in 2021, and because of the resulting lawsuit, I've always endeavored to be much more careful about what I say. And if I do say something factual, I always try to ensure that I have ample concrete evidence to support it. On the 4th of June 2021, I was contacted by Keemstar, who on a call advised me that Billy was very unhappy with the comment I made regarding the settlement, and that it was false. In response to this, I removed that section and advised Keemstar to tell Billy that I had removed it and that I would make a retraction if Apollo's brother or Billy
Snape. Yeah, it's okay. It's probably because I'm doing react stream of a video, which Phil doesn't normally do.
Provides
Or at
evidence.
least he does it in his own streams. So I decided maybe let's try to change the content up a little bit since it's just me.
That the claim was false. I then sent Apollo's brother an email explaining the situation, and asked if he could confirm if my statement was incorrect. Several hours after I removed the statement from my video, Billy posted to his channel a response video. In it, he stated that my claim was wrong and that I was accusing him of murder.
Yeah, which you are, man.
May 26th, Jobs released a video downright loaded with false defamatory statements. The most heinous accusation related to Apollo's passing.
There we go.
In the video, Jobs outright states that I drove Apollo to suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
In his words, he may as well have just said murder.
Several days later, I received a concerns notice from Billy's lawyer. This is a legal document that you must send to someone before you sue them for defamation. It's the first step in the process. It needs to outline the words of which they complain,
I
what they imply.
Yeah, people are saying that he legit cheated, but like, okay. Anyway, what Karl did, like the lengths he was willing to go just to bring him down. It's like, bro, for like you're talking like you're talking like he murdered the guy, but in Karl's eyes, yeah, that's probably what he really thought. So, yeah, he's in this shitty situation now, and it's all because of his own doing.
And why they are false. I didn't take this seriously when I received it, because it wasn't the first concerns notice that Billy had ever sent me. A year earlier, Billy had sent me a concerns notice after I called him a cheater in a video about Guinness World Records. This was just after they reinstated his fake world records. The concerns notice was ridiculous, as obviously Billy is a proven cheater and everyone knows this, and it falsely claimed that
mainly Karl's argument was like, no, like you shouldn't trust what Billy Mitchell said. He's a cheater. But the judge wasn't buying it because, like, regardless of how much cheating the guy did, accusing him of murdering someone is a completely different realm from cheating in a video game.
that I implied he was a criminal because I suggested that he may have paid Guinness to reinstate his scores, even though paying Guinness to adjudicate world records is literally their business model. And during this time, Billy was suing multiple entities for telling the truth that he is a cheater. So there was no reason for me to believe that his second concerns notice regarding Apollo Legend was any more trustworthy. And
well, maybe you should have taken it more seriously. Oh, right, chat. I forgot to mention, like, there's this. I don't know. That's also not proven yet, but I heard like he had initially had a law firm or a lawyer who told him that the exact reason why he lost now, like he was gonna lose this because of the accusations of Apollo Legend. But apparently, the rumor is he did not listen to that lawyer and fired that lawyer and hired a new one. The one that the lawyer that says stuff that he wanted to hear. So yeah, joke's on you now, Karl, huh?
assumed it was completely bogus and an attempt to silence me, just like all of his other actions. A couple of days after I received Billy's concerns notice regarding Apollo Legend, I re-edited my video to add back in my claims regarding the settlement. Again, I believed them to be true, and my efforts to avoid legal action by taking them down had failed. In the pinned comment of Billy's response video, he even said that removing the words or making a retraction would make no difference. Several days after I reinstated my claim, I received a retraction.
Karl Jobst removed the allegation from his video. A reliable third party confirmed the illegitimacy of his allegations directly to him. I am currently unaware of any official retraction, however. Either way, that simply will not do. Jobst fabricates a baseless story with fictitious events to pin a suicide on me, but he seemingly thinks that the simple removal reconciles his conduct. Absolutely not. The damage has been done. Over 600,000 people saw that video before he removed the claims. He pins a suicide on me in front of hundreds of thousands of people, makes thousands of dollars of ad and sponsor revenue, and drives a GoFundMe to $50,000 with the emotions that he drew from those claims. In exchange, I received tons of hate on social media calling me a murderer, saying that I killed Apollo Legend and that I have blood on my hands. No, thank you, Karl. So Billy Mitchell saying is that, dude, you just taking out that video is not enough. You didn't really say sorry. You didn't really make a video dedicated to saying, oh, I was wrong, Billy Mitchell. Yeah, sorry about that. I slandered your name. I made a false accusation. He just pulled out the video. So like he's like Karl's ranting right now that, oh, I pulled the video already. So why is he still not happy? So obviously, man, it's like if you're this much of a big persona like Billy Mitchell and you have all these people after you, no shit, just pulling it out isn't enough. Like, what the hell, man?
Would make no difference.
Oh, hi. Did King Gunnar leave you alone today? Okay, he was at the Vegas meetup, which is why he couldn't attend. He couldn't make a live stream today. So I just told him, you know what, I'll try it for the first time doing it on my own. Because like I'm thinking about doing this thing again. I'm not sure if people are happy about it right now, but yeah, I'm thinking of doing live streams again. So it's like I'm gonna use this as a litmus test if it's good or not.
Several days after I reinstated my claim, I received an email reply from Apollo Legend's brother. He confirmed that originally Billy had tried to get money from Apollo, but this greatly upset Apollo because he simply had no money to give. And ultimately, they adjusted the settlement, and in the final version there was no money transferred. As soon as I received this email, I removed my claim from my video, and it has been gone ever since. After I removed the claim from my video, we responded to Billy's lawyers advising them that the segment was removed and that I would be issuing a retraction. Billy said this was not sufficient, and in the response from Billy's lawyer, they stated that proceedings were necessary. Despite this, I still planned on releasing a retraction, and in my video, The Greatest Feat in Video Game History...
This is another thing. It's like, he put a retraction video in the final 30 seconds to 1 minute of this video that has absolutely nothing to do with with an apology. Actually, let's take a look at this video. The greatest feat in video game history. Yeah, let's take I actually didn't take a look at this. In video game history. Okay, so Karl saying that his retraction video of Billy Mitchell is right here in this video. Like, if you were just like, you know, a casual subscriber not knowing anything, would you think that this is an apology video? Let's check it out.
Hello, you absolute legends. How does one prove complete dominance over a game? Since the birth of video games half a century ago.
Okay. Nothing to do with it. Okay, let's see the final. Okay, let's start here at minute 26. Oh, what happened to the volume? I lost my volume.
Tremendously. As we just mentioned,
yeah, this is still not an apology.
Will this ever be taken further? And if so, who will be the one to do it? Elden Ring, the next FromSoft game, is set to come out in 2022.
Yeah, exactly,
and not only will there be a race to be
I'm already at minute 27 out of the 30 minute, and it's still not the apology video.
First to complete it without being hit, but eyes are also on the grand prize of a 7-game back-to-back hitless run. One thing is for sure, it doesn't look like the madness will end anytime soon. And considering how far Dark Souls players have pushed the games in the last 5 years, I know that whatever happens will probably blow my mind.
Still not an apology video. It's still about the video. It's still about Dark Souls.
Now, before I finish the video, I would like to take this opportunity to correct something that I said in a previous video. Back in May, I talked about the new lawsuits filed by Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell. In that video, I made the claim that Apollo Legend paid money to Billy Mitchell as part of their settlement. I would never make such a claim unless I had very good evidence to support my position. In response to this, Billy Mitchell released a video accusing me of lying and claimed that no money was exchanged. He didn't provide any evidence to back up this claim, nor did he attempt to get in contact with me to clear up any misinformation I may have had. However, I did investigate further, as I would never want to provide false information to my viewers. I reached out to a member of Apollo's family who graciously agreed to clarify some details. According to them, despite Mitchell's best efforts, Apollo Legend would not pay any money, and in the final version of the settlement, there was no clause indicating that he was required to do so.
Okay, wait. We're at minute 29, Caviteño, out of the 30-minute video that had nothing to do with there's no thumbnail indicating that he's apologizing to Billy Mitchell or the title of the video. He put it in this final segment of a 30-minute video. The last 1 minute. At least put it at the beginning, man. This is something, don't you think this is something that you should make a dedicated video for? After all the videos you made about Billy Mitchell?
Therefore, the statement I made in that video was almost certainly incorrect. I sincerely apologize for providing false information, and no matter what kind of—
Yeah, and the judge called him out on this. This is not a legit apology video because you put it so, you know, at the part where the least people watch it. I make YouTube videos, I know, you know, as the video goes on, the less people tune in. Like, by the time you get to the end, it's like only 2% of the total views actually reach the end. So, you know, it comes across as not sincere.
relationship I have with Mitchell, I do not believe that it is ever justified to lie or mislead. Mitchell also claimed that I was accusing him of murder. This is certainly not the case. I do have my opinion regarding
Never mind, I keep regurgitating. But you did, Karl.
the impact of the settlement on Apollo's decision, but ultimately, it was no one's responsibility but his own. The only reason I mentioned it in that video was because I felt like it was important to let you know what happened, as I know many of you enjoyed his videos.
Yeah, but you still insinuated that Billy Mitchell was the reason.
As always, thank you so much for watching, you legends. I hope you are having a fantastic...
Legends. Anyway, so yeah. So here's the reason. Oh, I put a retraction video here in this Dark Souls 30-minute Dark Soul video in the final minute. It's like, dude, come on. You can watch his content, Hunter. Like, if you open his channel, just search Billy Mitchell. He made like 20 videos about it. But anyway, at the end of the day, he was incredibly cocky. His hubris caused this, his downfall. Now he owes Billy Mitchell a lot of money. But still, like, as of now, maybe that could change. He still plans to appeal the thing. So it's going to cost him even more money. So he's even sinking further into debt. Which is nutty, man. It's like all this for a guy who cheated on a video game. Like, come on.
In response to this, Billy Mitchell released a video accusing me of lying and claimed that no money was exchanged. He didn't provide any evidence to back up this claim, nor did he attempt to get in contact with me to clear up any misinformation I may have had. However, I did investigate further, as I would never want to provide false information to my viewers.
Yeah,
I reached out...
He makes it look like here in this video that he made a dedicated video out of it, but it's at the very end, dude.
To a member of Apollo's family who graciously agreed to clarify some details. According to them, despite Mitchell's best efforts, Apollo Legend would not pay any money, and in the final version of the settlement, there was no clause indicating that he was required to do so. Therefore, the statement I made in that video was almost certainly incorrect. I sincerely apologize for providing false information, and no matter what kind of relationship I have with Mitchell...
If I was Billy Mitchell, like, dude, no, you have to make a dedicated video, not put it in a completely irrelevant video. And at the very end, where you know for a fact that it's the least amount of people watching at that point.
I do not believe that it is ever justified to lie or mislead. Mitchell also claimed that I was accusing him of murder. This is certainly not the case. I do have my opinion regarding the impact of the settlement on Apollo's decision, but ultimately, it was no one's responsibility but his own. The only reason I mentioned it in that video was because I felt like it was important to let you know what happened, as I know many of you enjoyed his videos. My standard of evidence has changed dramatically since I made this original claim, so of course, now I disagree with my
Yeah, no shit, after you lost.
statement that I had very good evidence. But I was just trying to say that I didn't just make this up out of nowhere, and I didn't consider Billy's legal threat against me as him trying to get in contact with me, which is why I said that he didn't. After I released my retraction, my lawyers contacted Billy's lawyer to let them know, though we never heard back. I've heard a lot of people say that I never made a retraction, or never attempted to correct the record, or was trying to hide my retraction, and that if only I had just...
But you did, man. It's a 30-minute Dark Souls video. No one is gonna think that that's a retraction video, boo.
Made a retraction, this entire thing would have been avoided. But that's just not the case. I wanted the retraction to get as many views as possible.
No, you did. Yeah, I watched this already, but it's like I'm reacting to it again now. No, man. It's a 30-minute Dark Souls video. You didn't want people to watch that retraction video, man.
And said as much to my lawyers at the time, and ultimately it did. My retraction got far more views than...
Yeah, people wanted to watch your Dark Souls content. I wouldn't know that there's an apology video at the very end, man. And hi, Arturo. Yeah, it's when I'm watching this again, my blood kind of boils.
The original video, but it was clear from Billy even before I made the retraction that it wasn't going to affect his actions in any way. Then in September 2021, Billy filed his lawsuit against me. Those are the events that led up to the lawsuit. But if the lawsuit was apparently just about my claim about the Apollo Legends settlement, then why did many people believe that it was about allegations of cheating? There are multiple reasons, and yes, I am one of them, but it wasn't just my YouTube audience who thought that. It was even news outlets. In fact, they were playing segments on national news about—
That's because they were probably basing it on your videos, Carl. They were getting it from your videos because of the 20 plus. I don't know how many videos you have on your channel about Billy Mitchell. Because like back when like I caught traction of you, Carl, it's like with the completions. I watched some of them. I watched some of the Billy Mitchell videos. All that time, I never got the idea that it was because of the Apollo Legends situation. I was always under the impression it was because he's suing you because of the cheating. Okay, that's just it. And that's what the newsletter outlets kind of interpreted too.
how Billy was suing me for cheating.
A bitter war of Donkey Kong has exploded, with controversy over a high score making it all the way to a Queensland courtroom. An American video game champion is suing a Brisbane YouTuber over cheating claims.
And they didn't think that because I told them or because they watch my videos. They ran that story because of the arguments that were being made during the lawsuit and the nature of the pleadings. In Australian defamation, you must look at the entire publication. If I publish a video, Billy doesn't get to just extract a single paragraph and ignore everything else. In the video where I made those claims about the Apollo settlement, I also claimed that Billy was exposed for cheating. I claimed that he was banned for cheating. I said that he abuses the legal system to force people to acknowledge his video game scores. And I said that he expressed joy at the
imagine like putting everything on the line, your family's future, your house, whatever, all your money, just so you can stick it to this guy.
Thought of Apollo Legends' death, because he did. I mean, I even showed in that same video text messages where Billy said he would try his hardest not to smile and giggle if Apollo Legend was actually dead. So as part of Australian defamation law, there is a concept known as contextual truth. And this was one of—
So let me read this. In Queensland, the contextual truth defense in defamation law, as outlined in Section 26 of the Defamation Act in 2005. Defamation Act 2005 allows a defendant to argue that even if some defamatory imputations are untrue, the overall publication conveys other substantially true imputations that do not further harm the plaintiff's reputation. Essentially, if true statements overshadow the defamatory ones, the reputational harm is mitigated, making it unfair to pursue legal action solely based on the untrue allegations. I don't know. Like, even if that's true, I'm not a legal expert, but I think this is a really weak defense. Like, if this was me, it's like I would want it to be foolproof. Like, I don't want there to be like one incorrect thing there, because like that alone, like out of your 100 true statements, 99 one is incorrect. That's gonna lead people to question, are the other 99 actually correct, right? And the thing is, it's like, again, it's like the accusation here is he says Billy Mitchell is the reason why Apollo Legend ended his life. And that, so like, it's irrelevant, right, chat? It's like, it's irrelevant where it's like saying, oh, Billy Mitchell's a cheater, Billy Mitchell's not credible and stuff like that. How is that related to this case where you're accusing him of murder? It's like, it's like, he's using this as like his trump card, this particular part of the law. But I would use this like a secondary weapon, not my primary one in the context of an FPS game. I wouldn't use it as my main weapon, just like my pistol or something. I wouldn't use this as my defense. But anyway, Carl hired some shitty lawyers who overcharged him, so he got what he deserved.
One of my defenses. My defense states that because I made those other claims that both hurt Billy's reputation and were true, Billy was harmed anyway, and the words he complained of didn't harm him any more than he otherwise would have been. And in response to these other claims, Billy denied them all. He denied that he was exposed for cheating, he denied that he was banned by Twin Galaxies, he denied that he abuses the legal system, and he denied that he expressed joy at the thought of Apollo Legends' death. And because he denied those extra claims, the breadth of arguments during the lawsuit expanded to include those as well. And the media evidently latched onto the cheating claims because Billy was denying those, and that was his main reputation. So on one hand, the reason Billy originally sued me was because of Apollo Legend, but on the other hand, because he doesn't get to just isolate that one paragraph and ignore everything else in the video, the cheating allegations, along with other more serious claims, became involved. And ultimately, the judge did agree that those other claims were made and that they were substantially true, though in his opinion, they weren't more serious than the claim Billy was suing over, which I personally don't agree with.
Okay, he's saying that he doesn't agree with the judge's consensus that accusing someone of murder is more serious than someone who cheated in a video game. Like, bro, get off the internet, man. This is from someone who stays at home 98% of the time. Dude, get off the internet, man.
In my personal opinion, I think expressing joy over Apollo Legend's death is far worse than any implication that the eventual settlement of Billy's $1 million lawsuit against a young YouTuber who had major health issues and no money and who was just expressing the truth might have contributed in some way to his decision to end his life. After Billy filed his lawsuit, I released a video in September 2021 titled "I'm Being Sued and Cancelled,"
which, again,
where
you're saying that it's a contributing factor. Again, that's still accusing the guy of, ending the life of the guy. So you're gonna have to prove that, man, which you definitely didn't. And the judge made the right call, Karl. Sorry to say.
I announced that I was officially being sued. In that video, I specifically state that I'm not going to talk about what the lawsuit was about. Normally, I'd give you a full breakdown of this kind of thing, but because this one involves me, I'm going to keep my cards a lot closer to my chest. What I will tell you is that I am being sued for defamation, and the amount of damages being sought is $450,000. I will definitely be giving you updates as we go, but I don't want to give out too many details or strategies before I use them in court. After this, I didn't talk about my lawsuit at all for over a year. And during this time, news outlets were posting articles about how Billy was suing me for cheating. Again, this wasn't because I said this. I wasn't even talking about my lawsuit at all. These articles were being written.
But you kept making videos about the guy, Karl. That's the thing. You kept making. How many videos do you have? Let's count.
Hello, you absolute legends.
Billy Mitchell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are not even that old. 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 months ago. It's because you kept talking about it, Karl. What's the general public was supposed to think if you didn't explicitly say it's about Apollo Legend? Like, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's 13, 14. Dude, you made so many videos about this guy. Like, a good lawyer would say, if you have a legal case, shut up about it. Don't talk about it or anything related to the personality you're suing. This guy can't stop, man.
Because reporters were reading the court documents where these issues were being argued. And I wasn't going to go out of my way to draw attention away from the cheating allegations either. Part of my defense was that Billy, more than anything else, has a reputation as a cheater. And when you think about Billy Mitchell, people don't think about that one brief claim I made in a video in 2021 and then retracted. They just associate him with cheating and abusing the legal system.
Yeah.
The fact that so many people didn't even know about the Apollo Legend settlement claim is evident of that. Then in 2022, Billy sent me a third concerns notice because of a video I released in April regarding one of Billy's witnesses accusing him of extortion. And he followed that up with another lawsuit, of which he sent to my lawyers and told them he was going to file it again.
Yeah, maybe Karl just stopped talking about it. Like, even let's put it in the scenario where Karl was gonna 99.8% chance he was gonna beat Billy Mitchell. Like, if I were Karl, I was like, I wouldn't talk about it on YouTube. I wouldn't make videos about it. It's like, okay, it's like, I wouldn't let it get over my head. Oh, I'm gonna beat Billy Mitchell. Absolutely. I would wait until it's actually true. Just wait. Just shut up. Talk about other things. Talk about other speedrunning content. and wait for the case to happen. It's like this guy kept making video after video, more ammunition for Billy Mitchell to file more cases, and that's what's happened.
Against me. And then he sent me a fourth concerns notice saying he intended to sue me because I put a 10-second AVGN meme in a video completely unrelated to Billy. Billy was now threatening me with 3 simultaneous lawsuits. The first one had already cost $200,000 in the first year alone. So if Billy filed the second and third lawsuits, there was no way I could afford to defend myself. I had Billy Mitchell, the guy who had already sued multiple people for exposing his cheating and who had already sued me once before, telling me he was going to sue me 2 more times. And the reasons were insane. They were obvious abuses of the legal system. I felt I had no choice but to create a GoFundMe, and I advertised it in a video called...
It's this one. Like, you know, whenever you ask people for money, it's like if it ever comes to the point I'm asking money for people online, it's like you gotta be transparent about it as possible, man. It's like you gotta break it down. Like what am I gonna use the money for? How much it's gonna cost? And here it's like, look, any casual viewer would definitely think I did, because like I didn't watch every single Billy Mitchell video. I watched maybe 2 or 3. Like what? In what circumstance would I think that it's about the Apollo Legend case? Like, it doesn't say anything here. Look, I'm a YouTuber who often reports on video game cheaters. So already you're setting the premise that it's because of the cheating, man. Anyway, okay, let's continue.
Billy Mitchell has gone insane and I need your help. In that video, I clearly explain what is happening and why I'm creating the GoFundMe. Every single word I said in that video was true, and all of this is explained in the video. I understand that this was several years ago, so I don't blame anyone for not remembering the video or why I created the GoFundMe, but it wasn't in response to the first lawsuit that ultimately went to trial. It was because of Billy's constant legal threats against me, most of them having nothing to do.
Yeah, but you still should have placed all the possibilities if you're asking for money from other people. That's the thing. Like, you can withhold that kind of information, sure, but because it's your own life and it's your own personal case. But the moment you ask for money from other people, that changes. Like, you gotta be transparent on everything. These are all the cases that was filed against me. You can just summarize the reason. You don't have to copy paste the entire thing, but still, like, you gotta tell people that was also part of it, and that was ultimately the one that went to trial. And no, people, we didn't get that. People did get that. All this time we thought, oh, Carl's gonna win this, he's gonna prove that Billy Mitchell's a cheater. Then karma got back to you, buddy.
With Apollo Legend. This video got a lot of attention at the time. Even Moist Critical made a video about it.
This is one of the most baffling reasons for a lawsuit I think I've probably ever heard in general. Now, as I understand it, the second lawsuit hasn't been fully filed yet. Right now it is still in the letter of intent stage, where they are intending to sue Karl and have sent him the documents to indicate such. But it looks like it is going to be sent in the coming days.
And the GoFundMe raised $150.
I don't know if Moist made an updated video on this. I haven't been watching his videos, but I'm going to assume that he also thought that it was because of the cheating, not because of the Apollo Legend situation.
50,000 Australian dollars immediately. If anyone came away from that video thinking that Billy was suing me for saying he cheated, it's because he had started the process for doing exactly that, on top of everything else. Ultimately, these extra actions never made it all the way to trial, but there was no way for me to know that at the time. And it was possibly even because of the success of the GoFundMe that Billy ended up backing down. People are now using the fact that Billy didn't go all the way through with his threats to say that the GoFundMe was a scam, but I was just responding to actions taken by Billy and protect.
Okay, in his defense, he was just using it for defense. But again, he didn't disclose all the details that we needed to know about the defense.
myself, and the money was used exactly for the purposes that I said it would be, which was to help cover legal fees. This narrative that this whole thing was only ever about Apollo Legend, which ironically is a narrative that started with Billy Mitchell, is completely false. And if that were the case, Billy would not have taken action against me on 4 separate occasions, with 3 of those having nothing to do with Apollo Legend. That is why I never thought this whole thing was actually about Apollo Legend. I had been threatened and was dealing with so many actions from Billy that
What I think your law firm or your lawyer should have, given how expensive they are, I think they should have plugged that hole too. I don't know. I would have, if I was going to pay for an expensive lawyer, all grounds should be covered regardless of which one, you know, just saying.
were related to cheating, that from my perspective this Apollo Legend lawsuit was just Billy trying to capitalize on a mistake I made. But wrong or right, I was under the impression that Billy was suing me because they kept talking about his cheating, and talking about him in a negative light in general. Otherwise, those other actions made no sense whatsoever. It was clear to me that his goal was just to silence me, especially when it came to the Apollo Legend claim, as I had already removed the words and made a retraction. The only other
retraction from a 30-minute Dark Souls video at the final minute. It's like he's like conveniently he's not saying that.
The time I mentioned the GoFundMe was at the end of a video I released in August of 2023, where ironically, I was responding to Billy saying that my GoFundMe was a scam. However, in this video, I allow Billy to fully explain why he is suing me, and I even say myself that the lawsuit relates to Apollo Legend.
Okay, but time went on, and eventually, without a single source, except a now deleted post on Reddit.
Yeah, Karl, the Reddit man,
was his only source where he blamed me for taking the life of another human being and for what I did to him. And I said, that's it.
Billy Mitchell is referring to the YouTuber Apollo Legend, who tragically took his own life in December of 2020. I won't go into specifics about this particular point because it does relate to his ongoing lawsuit against me.
Maybe you should have said it a bit more so that people are aware this is the one. Out of your bajillion videos about him being a cheater or his poor reputation, apparently, maybe you should have made it more transparent that this was also an issue. Okay.
Of course, I do pick apart a lot of Billy's lies, and I deny that I actually said Billy took Apollo Legend's life, because I didn't, but I wasn't trying to...
You did. It's over here at the 2-minute one, where you re-uploaded that segment of your video. But anyway.
Hide the fact that the lawsuit was related to Apollo Legend. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even made this video or say directly that it was. And of course, I do also say that the allegations of cheating are relevant, because they were being argued as well. After I promoted the GoFundMe in this video, it quickly reached $200,000, at which time I closed it and stopped accepting...
it quickly rose up there because people were under the impression that you were battling of Billy Mitchell accusing you of defamation because of cheating, not because of the... Okay. I don't think it would have raised that quickly, as he claims, if people knew if it was about the Apollo Legend situation.
Donations, which was almost a year before we went to trial. So throughout 2024, as I began talking about the trial more and more, the GoFundMe was already closed and I wasn't accepting money from the public. I have seen people point to the description of the GoFundMe and say that it didn't provide enough information or exact details about what the lawsuits and threats were about, and in that regard, I totally understand if people think that was bad practice or an issue. I can only apologize and say that I didn't give the description much thought. As I said, I only mentioned or linked to the GoFundMe in
if it's anything money related, you gotta be crystal clear. You gotta be detailed about everything whenever money is involved.
Videos outlining things in much more detail, which I assumed people had already watched. Though if I knew the description should have included everything, I would have absolutely no problem doing just that. The fact that so many people got upset or felt misled after the judge's decision and I lost the lawsuit came as a huge shock to me. There was a lot of reporting being done around the time of the trial, and no backlash occurred then, when it was also very clear what the trial was about. And I've had many people tell me they always knew exactly what the lawsuit was about and they don't feel misled.
Okay, small minority, good on you. But to the rest, for everyone else who was not really very into this, we felt lied to. And yeah, Gary, and the thing is, he's contemplating to go even further, that's the nutty part.
So it would be very easy for me just to claim that people are only upset because I lost and Billy won, which is not the outcome everyone wanted. But I don't think that's entirely true either. I never said that Billy Mitchell sued me for cheating, but I also did not repeat or draw attention to the original claim that got me in trouble. Nor did I constantly remind people that the lawsuit related to Apollo legend. Not because I was trying to scam anybody or mislead people, but because I believed it would have been detrimental to my case. I was very happy to talk publicly about Billy threatening to sue me for calling him a cheater, and to go into detail about how much of a cheater he is, because all of that is true.
Again, if you're in a case, just don't talk about it anymore. Like, someone coming in late would definitely think this is the reason. If like that person's not gonna go all the way back to 2021 thing, oh, it's about the Apollo legends. Like, no, Karl.
Despite the fact that he had threatened me multiple times for calling him a cheater, I was not afraid to continue making that claim. And I was happy to discuss his cheating even when it related to my currently ongoing lawsuit, because it was one of my defenses. When it came to Apollo legend, this was a different story. I made a claim that included information that was not true. I didn't accuse Billy of murdering Apollo or causing his death, so I don't think I should have...
He keeps repeating that I didn't make the accusation when we saw it, like in his 2 minutes that he did.
Lost the lawsuit, but at the end of the day, I said something that was not accurate, which I admitted to and corrected years ago. And I was never going to repeat it because the internet doesn't work like we want it to work. If I drew more attention to Billy's claims about what I said, more people would have repeated it, and it would have been used against me in court. For example, Billy's...
That's the thing. People would repeat it. But you kept regurgitating Billy Mitchell. You could have talked about so many other things, so many other speedrun cheaters, even that's not Billy Mitchell. But you kept making topics about Billy Mitchell for years, dude.
Team crawled through thousands and thousands of comments on Too Moist critical videos about Billy Mitchell, which were released years after my video. They found a handful of comments that related to Apollo legend, and then without any causal link, claimed that they were a direct result of my video. Even though there was no mention of me or my channel, and we don't know who these people are or why they are making these comments, the judge ruled that I'm responsible. Essentially, it didn't seem to matter if people may have come to this conclusion independently, and it didn't seem to matter if there was no evidence linking their conclusion to my original video. The blame for every single comment was entirely placed upon me. The judge even flat out stated that no comments of this nature were ever made before my video. And not only is this one of the reasons the damages might have been so...
I agree. It originated from your video. You're the one who accused it. And yeah, he keeps repeating that he never said it, but we know he did.
High, but it seemed to be used as proof that every comment was because of my original video. But I disagree with this statement, as there were plenty of comments well before my video ever came out saying that Billy was responsible. So you can see how dangerous even mentioning Apollo legend would have been. That was my reasoning for not repeatedly bringing up Apollo legend, though evidently my behavior of talking about the lawsuit so many times without reminding people explicitly what it was about led to many people being confused. And if you're one of those people, I sincerely apologize. I just hope that you can consider that it was not done intentionally to mislead you or for nefarious purposes. I also made the mistake of reposting news articles covering my lawsuit, because all of the reporting that was done before the trial focused on the cheating allegations, and that wasn't the full story. As I said before, I had so many threats regarding the cheating allegations that I believed Billy's true motivations were to shut me up about the cheating videos, and the lawsuit did actually involve Billy denying those cheating allegations ever happened. However, I should have made it more clear that the lawsuit wasn't mainly about cheating. I just didn't know how to do that without jeopardizing my defense. rights. And I also carelessly assumed most people already knew what the lawsuit was about anyway, because I had said it in one of my videos. If I truly understood the impact my actions would later have on people, I would have been much more careful. Obviously, in hindsight, it may have been better to not talk about the lawsuit at all, but I'm not sure if that was ever going to happen. It's just not in my nature. And this was the biggest thing impacting my life and this channel for multiple years. So of course I felt compelled to talk about it. I should have...
If it becomes legal, you shouldn't. Don't display all your cards out there. Like, even somehow it has no repercussions. I wouldn't want the other side to know what I'm planning to do. It's like, that's point being, you never should have mentioned it at all, or stop talking about it.
Just found a way to be more transparent if I were to discuss it. And I can understand fully if you are disappointed in my actions, especially if you donated to the GoFundMe. If you weren't really following the trial closely and don't have much...
To the people who donated to stick it to Billy Mitchell, your money went to him, man. You paid Billy Mitchell
information about what happened during it, and all you're currently reading is news about the judgment or drama videos saying that I lied about everything.
Yeah, shout out to Smash JT. But dude, you really did, man. You really came across. Like, I found Karl Jobst long before this case started. Okay, like I said, I found Karl Jobst through The Completionist. So definitely it was ongoing. With I never knew who Apollo Legend was, stuff like that. So I was really under the impression that it was about the court case, about the cheating, and yeah, like Smash. Like I believe Craig from Side Scrollers also believed that's the case. So. It's not an isolated case, Karl. A lot of people really thought, because, you know, you wouldn't shut up about it.
I'd suggest remaining skeptical for the time being. I will wait until the dust settles before discussing what happened during trial in more detail, but at some point I definitely will. And hopefully at that point, you will have a better understanding about why I was so confident I would win. And it's also...
Yeah. I'm not gonna go look for videos, but some other content creators have. They consolidate how insanely cocky he was when it comes to in his videos. Like, oh, I'm gonna beat Billy Mitchell. It's so absurd that I'm gonna sweep the floor. It's a surefire win. You guys go ahead and look for it. But yeah, Karl, like, even let's say if that is true, let's pretend that Karl's 100% gonna win. How is that gonna look to the judge? Like, it's like, if I were just like, man, this guy is really, you know, this Karl's really, you know, on the nose when it comes to how confident he is. Like, I wouldn't want to set that impression on the judge just so that it wouldn't hurt my chances. You know, I wouldn't be like the cocky guy who's like, oh, you know, this is an absolute win, man. It's like, I wouldn't want to give that impression to a judge. Just because it may hurt my chances of winning.
Also possible that you might even agree that this judgment is simply crazy once you have all of the details. I will say one thing though. The judge found Billy Mitchell to be a credible witness, and essentially accepted his full oral testimony as fact, despite our many attempts to show that Billy is a liar. For example, we have Billy on video in 2023 during his Twin Galaxies deposition saying that the effect I've had on him is minimal.
Did the actions that Karl Jobst and David Race and Jeremy Young and Jeff Harris take also cause you emotional distress?
That is minimal compared to this.
Why?
Because this is where it all began.
However, during my trial, he claimed
that's because he was saying you accusing him of cheating, not because of you accusing him of murder. Because the guy didn't just mention Karl Jobst, right? He mentioned several other people. So all those people put together are accusing Billy Mitchell of cheating, not because of the murder. Okay, yeah, whatever, Karl.
The exact opposite, and said that I basically ruined his life. And the judge completely disregarded his previous statements and accepted what he said at my trial at face value. And this is just one example of many times that this happened. And if you've watched any of my videos on Billy Mitchell in the past, especially those in regards to his deposition, you will start to realize that this judgment might not be based on truthful evidence. But again, I won't go into much detail until the very end. There are so many lies being spread right now that it's insane. I can totally understand people making fun of me because I lost and because of how cocky I was.
Deservedly so, because okay, I don't have the videos right now. Oh, hi Smash JT. Yeah, I was just kind of talking because you were mentioned in Karl's video. But hi. Yeah, and Phil's not here today because like he was at the Vegas meetup. But yeah, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. But yeah, I'm reacting to this Karl Jobst video since, man, you got a shout out from Karl. But man, this guy, he better not appeal, man. He better not appeal. Like it's a lost cause. He better cut his losses and go back to making speedrunning content and not talk about Billy Mitchell and try to make his settlement lighter with Billy Mitchell. But no, he wants to double down apparently.
And I can understand if people are upset because I wasn't transparent enough and they had the wrong idea about the lawsuit. And I can appreciate people are angry because I lost. I made a ton of mistakes, and I am a great example of what not to do when you're being sued.
Yeah, no
and
shit.
ultimately, I am the one that will also need to pay the biggest price. In certain areas, I'm just an idiot, and I have a habit of saying things that rub people the wrong way. Of course, if I could go back and do things differently, I would. But some other things people are saying about me are just crazy and appear to me to be completely in bad faith. Like, people are spreading this screenshot long after the trial had finished and using it to try and
Okay, so this one is about, okay, I'll let him finish.
claim that I used AI in my defense or as part of my strategy, when all this is me and some friends having some fun and seeing what AI would say.
Okay, let's go back to that. Exactly. Okay, yeah, I would also at face value think that you consulted with AI, but of course I know you have lawyers, man. But the thing is, this text right here, it just shows how arrogant you've become in this whole ordeal. Like, it shows, oh look, man, I'm gonna beat Billy Mitchell so hard. That's what it also says. That's why we're also making fun of you for this. Yeah. Okay, so here's what is interesting. We fed all the court transcripts in AI. It said that there's no scenario where I lose, lol. So, dude, like, you were so sure. That's the funny part. That's why people are making fun of you with this, because you were so sure that you were gonna destroy, annihilate Billy Mitchell. That's why people are making fun of you for this, not because you were using AI instead of a lawyer.
All this is me and some friends having some fun and seeing what AI would say. Many people are taking advantage of the worst experience of my life to go after me for
Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah. Thank you, Smash, for the raid. So, yeah. You guys came at a time where I'm actually about to end the stream. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm talking about this Karl Jobst case. So I'm doing a react video on his I lost video, and it's not a good look. It's a terrible video. So yeah, he shouldn't have posted this, in my opinion. People were looking for a legitimate apology, not a sorry, I'm not sorry video. It's like he's gaslighting people. Oh, I didn't really say that. I didn't say this, but yeah, that's not a good look. And I really hope for his sake that he does not appeal this anymore. But I know it's at the back of his mind that he wants to appeal, but he really shouldn't. He's gotta put the fries in the bag, man.
things that are just outrageous. And it sucks because on one hand I want to defend myself, but on the other hand I totally agree that I made a lot of mistakes. I said things publicly I shouldn't have said that made me look bad, so I do deserve to be called out for those things. But other things are just flat out wrong or just complete lies. And if I spend too much time debunking lies, it will come across as if I think I bear no responsibility for what happened, which is not the case. So I won't. I'll just say that I hope reasonable people can understand that out of context screenshots may not be indicative of what is really going on or how I really feel. This experience has been extremely painful. However, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's been a huge wake-up call, and there are many lessons for me to learn. So assuming I do adequate self-reflection and I grow from this, I think it will ultimately be good for this channel. I'm more motivated than ever to move on and focus on producing good content and keeping myself out of trouble. So if you never really cared about this Billy Mitchell stuff and just want to watch some entertaining YouTube videos on cheating and speedrunning, this will be great news for you. Thank you so much to everyone who has supported me for the past few years. I can assure you that you have made this process much easier than it would have been, not only for me, but for my family as well. And I'm truly sorry to everyone I let down by not handling this as well as I could have. Thanks for watching, you legends. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I do hope that I get to see you in the next video.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's autoplay. Yeah, that's basically it. So, yeah, Karl, just cut your losses, man. It's like, move on already. It's like you lost, and I think you might semi understand why, but it's I don't know if he's still real, because like according to his inner circle, his people on Discord, he still wants to appeal. And to me, that's like, yeah, you're digging yourself even deeper. It's like I don't think it's gonna fly at all in the slightest. But yeah, time will tell. Like maybe I don't know okay. Maybe he's gonna not talk about it anymore. So if he does, like if he learned absolutely nothing from everything for the past 3 to 4 years. But yeah, Carl, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Just settle with Billy. Like he's probably gonna ask you to delete all of the cheating videos and just move on. Just talk about new stuff. Like his content is genuinely good. Like if you watch his cheating videos that's outside of the Billy Mitchell case, it's good. And like I really like the way he broke down, the completionist story. And that's how I found him actually.